Leaders, real life leaders.
Welcome to the Real Life Leadership Podcast, where we share real life stories from real life leaders to help you become a better leader in your organization. Hey everyone, Josh here from the Real Life Leadership team. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Today we're actually going to do something a little bit different. Since we're about 12 episodes in, we wanted to kind of do a recap and share some of our favorite clips from the podcast so far. Today's episode is called The 3 Characteristics of a Great Leader. And this comes from our episode with Toby Harris, one of the co-founders of Movement Mortgage, an awesome, amazing company. And he breaks down the 3 characteristics that a great leader should possess and have. Now, it's a really short clip, so what I did was I found other segments from our podcast of other people kind of touching on the topics that he covers in these 3 characteristics that he mentioned. Here you go. You're in for a treat. Toby Harris from Movement Mortgage.
And before we started the show, tell everyone what you said, because I love that.
So
you
good.
said there's 3 characteristics of a leader. What are those 3 that you're looking for?
Well, leadership is comprised of 3 different things. If you're a leader, first, you have to have an extremely clear vision, not only of where you want to go, but where you want your company to go and where you want each employee to go, what's required in each position, okay? So you have to have the vision. Then you have to have a process that works. A lot of people come up with a process, but it's either incomplete, inaccurate for what you really want to accomplish, or it just doesn't work with people. So you have to have a vision. You have to have a process to get to the vision.
And you have to have a process that's easy, too, because you can have a process that's so complicated that the training takes forever and it's just a nightmare. Okay, and what's the third?
Well, this is kind of a pyramid, and the tip of the pyramid is the vision. The middle of the pyramid is the process, but the foundation of the pyramid is servant leadership, and I call that servantship. And if you lose that part or you don't have it, then you come across as harsh. And once you come across as harsh, even a person who has the vision will start to withdraw from that vision in many cases because they're afraid.
So you need to have a vision, process, and practice servantship. Here's a clip from Pat Hiban, real estate mogul and successful businessman, talking about what happens when you don't have a vision and how it affects the people around you.
Like there was a time where I lost my vision, right? Like when the market started getting crooked, and I was emotionally lost in vision. So like, for years I had a vision. Okay, we're going to do this much. This is going to happen. We're going to storm the enemy. You know what I mean? We're going, Yahoo! And I had this vision and people followed my vision and it was awesome. But as soon as I lost my vision, like I didn't care anymore. I was kind of, wondering if I should get out of the business, wondering if I should, getting to the point where I'm like, I'm wasting my time because I'm working all these hours and I'm not making any money. As soon as the people caught wind of that, especially the agents, they left, they rolled out because they're like, I want to go to the guy or the girl that has a vision, even if that vision was delusional or that vision didn't come to pass because of the market, which is exactly what happened. There were other teams and companies out there where the leader had a vision. He or she was like, yeah, we're gonna do this and we got to do this every day, and you know what I mean, and energized and optimistic, and the market still sucked. But they went to that person because they had a vision and I had lost my vision. So I would say that you got to have a vision. If you don't have a vision to give people of where they can go and where the company can go together, you're not going to retain them.
So point number 2 that Toby brought up was process. So at our company, we have checklists and different things to help make the process easy for any type of employee in any position. So here's Heather breaking down some of the checklists that we have in order to create a smooth process from our episode with Gessner.
A really well-run company runs off of checklist. And so checklists are a great way to inspect what you expect. So we have everything from an opening checklist to a closing checklist. And that means like we expect when somebody walks into our office that the lights are on, that it has the Chantel Ray smell, that everything's put away orderly, that water's filled up, etc. So we have a quick, easy checklist to make sure that the BOA, when they come in the morning, has filled out all of that stuff. So it's an easy way for us to check it. It's also trusting and verifying. So we trust that they're going to do that every morning, but we get that quick email that says they filled out this checklist to verify that they did it. Do you guys have different things like that?
Yep. Our chimney technicians have a series of photographs they take. So they'll go out there and they'll inspect the firebox, a damper, the chimney cap, the flue liner, the chimney flashing, the brickwork, all these different little spots that they've got to inspect. All right, and they'll take pictures and email them to our office. Our office will quality control it, but they also email it to the client, and that way the client has records of everything we've inspected also. So it is expecting our technicians to give these series of photographs, and we inspect it from our office.
If you look at really high-level companies, they have the most basic things on that checklist. And so we started going to different companies like Chick-fil-A and Geico and just all these large companies and going, let's examine. They let us come in and see what they were doing. And that's what they did. I mean, you would think that they're like stupid, but they're not.
Because people may be thinking like, okay, you're a little controlling. Like you're literally making them check off a box that says they turned on the lights. But we want to make the jobs as easy as like if a 16-year-old were coming off the street.
We say a 17-year-old or a 70-year-old.
Yeah.
We want to make it as easy as a 17-year-old can do it or a 70-year-old can do it.
Right.
And lastly, on servantship, here's a clip from my episode with Thomas Lane on failing up, and he talks about, kind of defines what it means as a leader to serve your people.
Don't say, my people don't respond in 24 hours. I need to say, I haven't led them to do that.
Yes. Right.
In the church world, I can't say, the church isn't generous. I have to say, I haven't led them to be generous. No one shows up early. I haven't led them to show up early. This church doesn't care about the community. I haven't led them to care about it.
Yes.
So that's something, because it's easy to sit in a staff meeting and complain. Nobody responds, nobody does this. So I've had to put it back on us as leaders and to look at the staff and say, hey, if there's a cultural thing on your team that you don't like, it's easy to just point fingers and be like, oh, they're lazy. But it's no. It's us. We haven't led them to do that. We haven't led them, and it's on us to change that culture.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. And as always, thank you so much for the reviews and for continuing to share the podcast. We are continuing to climb in the charts, so we really appreciate what you guys are doing. If you have any guests that you want to see on the show, let us know. Or if you have any questions that you want answered, I think it's time we did a Q&A episode with either Chantel and Heather or some other leaders that we have. Just email podcast@reallifeleaders.com, and we'd love to be in touch with you. And as always, thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. Be sure to subscribe and leave a review.